Hey guys, I want to show you how we prepare our mozzarella cheese. We actually use two different kinds of mozzarella cheese. The first is made with cow's milk. We buy that right here in the United States. And the other kind is made with the milk of the water buffalo, which is referred to as bufala mozzarella. And that we import every single week from the Campania region of Italy. Now both cheeses are fresh cheeses that are shipped to us in their original way. So if you remember from the video on how cheese is made, you start with milk, and then chemicals are added, and it's separated into the curds, which are the solid portions. Those go on to become the cheese. And then the whey, that's sort of the cloudy, grayish liquid that's left over after the curds have been removed. So both of these are packed in their original way. The whey of the water buffalo cheese we're actually going to keep, and we're going to store in these little squeeze bottles, and that's going to get mixed with the ricotta cheese that goes on our cioccolata as well as some other recipes. So this way we're going to keep, this way we're going to discard. Let me just go over real quick the equipment that we need to do this process. Very simple. We need a strainer, obviously. We have the squeeze bottle that will store the bufala whey. We have the third pans. Now the third pans are lined with these little inserts. You see these inserts have holes in them for straining out any additional whey that doesn't come out in the strainer initially, that's going to come out over time. These strainers have these little feet, these little holes, and they go right in the third pans, and the cheese goes on top, and the whey forms at the bottom. Now, the whey that comes out of the buffalo cheese is actually the best whey we have. Although this whole container is filled with whey, and we're going to put some of that in these squeeze bottles, the whey that comes out of the cheese itself, that's locked into the ball of the cheese right now, that's going to be the cloudiest, that's going to be the most milky whey that we have. So eventually, after this sits for a while, we're going to strain this out again into the squeeze bottles. So then we also need a cutting board, a couple of knives, and a scoop. So that's just for the whey. So let's get started. First thing, I'm going to start with my domestic cheese. And I'm just going to cut open this plastic. That's enough. And you can see the cheese, if you can see it on the camera there, is packed in this very cloudy liquid. That's the whey that I'm talking about. But I'm just going to strain this out and discard it. Now this cheese we buy in these tiny little balls, and the advantage of these little balls is that we can just count the balls and put balls on the pizza directly by the number. We don't have to weigh it or guess how much is in our hand. Every recipe will say on the par sheets, on the recipe or prep sheets, exactly how many balls go in each recipe. So it's super easy to do. So I'm going to take this, and I gave it a little shake. And now I put it in the third pan. And if additional whey comes out, it'll just fall to the bottom. No problem. All I'm going to do now is cover this and date it, and it's ready to go on the line. Let's go on now to the water buffalo. This container is sealed, and I just want to show you my little trick for opening it. What I do is I take the heel of the knife, and I go along the edge here. It's just a little safer to use the heel rather than the whole knife, the tip of it. And that's it. Then I lift this up, and you can see on the inside, it's packed, is another plastic container. It's packed with a plastic sheet on top. And inside of that, there are 8 balls, each wrapped in an individual paper liner. I'm going to switch knives again. I don't want to use the knife I use for the outside of the container on the food product. Okay. Just going to grab my garbage here. And I'm just going to open up these paper individual containers and pull out the balls. And these balls are very fresh. This package literally came from the airport just about a half an hour ago. Flown in, refrigerated. Okay, I'm just going to do half the balls here so I can speed up on camera. So I take the balls and put them on the cutting board. Now, what we do is we cut them into just the right size so that each piece is for one pizza. If you're making the larger 13.5-inch pizzas, that effectively means you're just cutting the balls in half. And that's what I'm doing right now. If your unit is making the smaller pizzas, the 11-inch pizzas, then you're cutting the ball into thirds. But either way, you just make a cut. I'm just going to go through the rest of these. Try and cut them as evenly as you can, because there's not really a second chance to weigh these out. One piece, one pizza. I'm going to take these and I'm just going to stack them sort of diagonally here. It's going to make them easier to remove and they're going to strain well. I'm just stacking them diagonally in the pan. This will help the whey come out, and then when the whey comes out, we'll strain it off into a squeeze bottle. Okay, obviously I would finish the rest of this container. Now I'm going to take the whey that's in this, and I'm going to use a scooper, and I'm just going to pour it right into a squeeze bottle. And that's it. I fill this up, process the rest of the cheese, and we're done. That's the mozzarella step. Thanks for watching.